Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy with Duality Unfolding. So this week what I have for you is 5 key messages, five groups that include key messages that you are meant to hear right now. So for each group, I will offer like 2 kind of key messages as well as a number of oracle cards. So this is kind of just a reading of whatever spirit, God, source, universe, your higher self, your angels, ancestors, guides, ascended masters, whatever it is that you tap into. These are messages that they have for you right now. These will be a little bit shorter messages, so that's why there are 5 options to choose from. So group 1, your choosing card is, I claim my desires, I hold great visions, I am ready to receive. Group number 2, your choosing card is, I seek out happy people who inspire me to be great. Group number 3, your choosing card is, I am a light worker in disguise. I don't have to talk about it. I can just be it. Group number 4, your choosing card is, compassion is my compass. I am willing to hold space for the experience of others. And group 5, your choosing card is, today, I consciously choose to think loving thoughts, take compassionate actions, and bring forth peaceful energy. For this reading, there's not necessarily going to be like a vibe check, and there's not any limit to the number of messages that you can receive if you wanted to watch all the groups, if you wanted to watch more than one, if there's one that really speaks to you. I feel like this is just really a find what feels right for you. Go towards whatever intuitive kind of nudges that you're having for the messages. If you want to like just kind of zoom ahead and stop the video in a certain spot, there might be a message for you there. The timestamps are below. So yeah, take all the time that you need, and I will see you guys in the readings. Hello, group number 1. So if you chose this I Claim My Desires card, this is your reading. So let's look at the 2 key messages that Spirit has for you today. Okay, so we've got 8 of Swords in reverse and we have an Empress card. Okay, so let's look at the 8 of Swords upright. This card is, it's really an energy of feeling trapped. You know, sometimes we can feel like we're trapped by someone else. Sometimes we can feel like we have kind of trapped or imprisoned ourselves out of a sense of maybe protection. And it feels like you were doing that for a very long time. With this card in reverse, that tells me that you're breaking out of this energy, that something happened to you that caused you to really have to kind of, it feels like a cocooning energy, right? Like the way that this person is kind of just holding themselves. They're really contracted. They have this, you know, animal hide over them to kind of hide them. It looks like they're in a cave. There's kind of this whole world outside of them, but they have these kind of weapons around them as well. And we can't tell if if these swords are here just to be close by, or if these swords are the things that are keeping them kind of trapped. So we can't tell from the image if the person put the swords here or if the swords were put here by someone else. And so it feels like, to me, like the message that's coming through is that there were a lot of really hurtful things that happened to you in the past. Like there were really hurtful words that people kind of said to you, or even like hurtful energy feelings that like people projected onto you, and what you ended up doing was internalizing those. So it could be that like someone criticized you or someone said something hurtful to you from a place of their own hurt, and you took that on as like meaning something bad about you, and it's something that played in your mind for a long time, and it was really like this thing that imprisoned you, you know, that like I don't want to say like you imprisoned yourself, because I feel like that feels like really blaming, and you didn't know at the time that you were taking on these negative things that people said about you, or these things that people projected onto you, you didn't know that you had the power to hear that when it came out of their mouth, or even hear that in your mind and say, not me. That's not my truth. I don't receive that. I don't want that. No, thank you. Send that shit back to where it came from. That's not mine. I don't know whose it is, but it's not mine and I'm not keeping it. I think that you've been through a really significant time of healing, of like introspection. And so I think that you are at the place now that, that these swords maybe weren't put here by you, but you know that you're strong enough to at least try to kind of wiggle them loose, right? Like it looks like they're really far in there, right? So it looks like these are things that are, some of them are deeper than others. And sometimes our mind can trick us, right? Like our mind can tell us that like this sword is as long as this sword, but we don't know that. But our mind says, oh no, this one's really long, so it's going to be hard to pull out. And this one looks like it's kind of almost out of the ground, so it'll be easy to pull off or pull out. And it's like, we don't know, this might be like a small dagger, and it might just like need a little nudge and it falls over, and like this might be something that's really deeply buried in there that like we've been working diligently to kind of wiggle out and pull out. And we do as much as we can and we see some progress and then we leave it because that one's going to be in there for a while. Or we've had to work at it, or maybe we need another tool, or we need some help. But I think that you are in a place now, you've moved out of this disempowered energy of feeling trapped by someone else, and you're coming to this place where you are either ready to just yank all of these out, like that you are just ready to you're ready to go ham. It looks like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Ghost in the Shell, but there's a part where the character Major, like she's pulling this kind of metal piece off of this like drone robot thing, and she's part synthetic, she's part robot. And so she's pulling so hard that like you can see like her synthetic parts start to pull away. And the urgency of needing to destroy this robot is more important than preserving her shell, her synthetic shell. Like the reason for what she's doing is more important than self-preservation. And it almost feels like that like you're so ready to not be controlled by this that like you don't really care how long it takes. You don't care how hard it is. You're just going to start pulling these up, and like you're not afraid of getting cut because, you can go get a Band-Aid. You can put some gloves on. You have a hammer that you can use to kind of knock these out of the way. Like you're not afraid of these swords anymore. I think before, when they were put in, you projected the power of that person's words onto these swords, and you gave these swords power to hold you down, when really like they're just inanimate objects. Like they're not inherently good or evil. They're just pieces of metal that someone has used, and sometimes we can use them for good, sometimes we can use them for not good, right? It's like you can hurt someone with a sword, or you can, help tie someone loose, to free them from something. So I feel like you are like this first key message is that you are coming out of this time of disempowerment. You're coming out of a time of fear, that you're really, I feel like it's like this very intentional kind of Hulk energy. It's not like the Hulk where he's like just destructive because he's in a rage. It reminds me of like the kind of like evolved Hulk, right? Like in in the Thor movie, where it's like he's being the Hulk to like help save the group. He's not being the Hulk because he's like mad and he's like raging. So it feels like you're really coming into like this powerful like energy surge where it's like you're ready to fight for and help this wounded part of yourself, because you want to get out of that energy, but also that person that you were, like it's almost like this wounded version of you, like you guys have split, but that wounded version of you is now someone that you feel like you have to take care of and you want to take care of, that you want to get revenge for the way they were hurt. And you don't want to hurt the other person, but the revenge is that you're going to rescue them. You're going to rescue them, and you are not ever going to let the things that happen to them happen again. You know, the revenge that you're getting is to heal them. The revenge that you're getting is like empowering yourself. It's almost like when people have a breakup and they talk about like a revenge body, where it's like you don't want to hurt the person that hurt you, but you do want them to feel regretful about the choice they made. You do want them to feel regretful about doing it the way they did, you know, like you know your worth, and you want them to realize that you know your worth and that they're missing out on you, but also that you don't want them back. So it feels like that kind of like regret energy. It's not regret energy, revenge energy. It's not like blind vengeance. It's very much that like the revenge is that you're healing yourself, you're growing, you're moving forward, and really kind of cutting off, if you haven't already, and putting distance between you and the person or people or type of energy that hurt you. And then this next key message is the Empress. So the Empress is really this divine feminine energy. It's depicted here with this Virgin Mary of Guadalupe. And it's very much like this mothering energy. It's this very beautiful, soft light. This, you know, like these roses represent love, you know, like the red being like love we have with others, and this purple being like a really divine love. And also like this kind of sun ray behind her. This is really that connection with the divine, that sort of knowing that like the divine is always, you know, at your side. It always has your back. It's always there to support, guide, nurture, assist you. And we see like she has her eyes closed. She's got her hands together in prayer. Like this is a very deep, trusting energy that, you know, she doesn't have to look around. She doesn't need to like make sure nobody's coming to cut her roses. She doesn't have to like, keep an eye out. Like this energy is just like being so tapped into a relationship with a higher power that, it almost feels like that becomes like your level of consciousness, like the way that it's almost like instead of this fear being that kind of Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder, it's like God's source spirit, the universe, is like this little, you know, magical sunbeam that's kind of always near your ear, or your heart or your mind, or however it is that you listen. Because I feel like we all listen differently, you know, like that we get downloads differently. Some people hear them, some people feel them in their heart, some people just kind of have a knowingness. And it feels like this is really like, this is your next evolution, that like, this is who you are becoming. This is what you are growing into, just being a very like divinely led person, which sounds really kind of, it sounds like a little bit woo-woo. And I mean, there are parts of it that are, but like when I say this is like your whole life, this is how you have come to, like, this is how you will come to operate. So, and this has to do with very tangible things, right? So this could be something like learning how to tune into your higher self, your body, like when you're eating foods. That, you know, I feel like sometimes there's like things, information we get, like trends, and it's like, okay, well, is that good for me? You know, like, let's say, I'll use myself as an example, like people that do like this, like kind of raw diet, that, you know, it's like that's supposed to be like the best way for you to get nutrients, and just like eating raw foods. And, you know, there are some things that like, I just can't eat raw. Like my body just doesn't digest them. Like, there's some things I don't really care for raw. Like I just enjoy them cooked a little bit, you know, like I I can't, and I think a lot of people are like this, but like raw cauliflower, like raw broccoli, it's really hard for a lot of people to digest it. And like for me, like raw bell peppers, like they wreck my gut. Like it's painful. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I have weird enzymes. I don't know. But you know, like this whole raw diet thing, like intuitively I can tap into my body, and in my stomach, it just kind of feels like, ugh, no, you know. And it's not that my body doesn't want vegetables, it's just that like my body's like, no, that it already feels like it hurts, because it that we don't like that. Raw cucumbers, yes, give us those, you know. Bell peppers in general, not our favorite. Spinach, raw, cooked, yeah, we'll take it either way. So, you know, that's something that's really tangible. This could also be like tangible things, could be like when you do like a job application, right? That like maybe you put in a job application, you have an interview, and like the interview, just like these people do not feel good. Like they just, they don't feel good. And that is spirit's way of letting you know, like, this isn't the right path for you. This isn't the right way for you. That like on paper, sure, it looks amazing and they're going to pay you great. And it's what you think your dream job is. But this is not it, you know? And so you know, maybe you trust your gut, maybe you don't, right? Like, because sometimes like it takes us time to learn how to decipher these messages and these downloads that we get. And there's, you know, it's kind of like learning anything that we do. Like you can be a really experienced driver, but if you're driving somebody else's car, like you're still kind of cautious, because it's like, okay, I don't know what your brakes are like. I don't know where your blinker is, you know, like I don't know how long it takes to stop, because like this is way bigger than my car, it's way smaller than my car, or like what's the turning radius on this thing. So it's like we can be experienced at making decisions, but you know, we don't know how everything is going to work. And so, you know, maybe you take that job and the pay is amazing, the culture is garbage. So, you know, you end up needing to like look for another job, or maybe you decide to change departments, or, you know, it's how we learn things. So, you know, I hope it doesn't make you uncomfortable to hear that like source is going to be like, you're going to be so tapped into source and divine guidance that like it's going to affect all parts of your life. It's going to be like, I don't know, you know how we have like those people in our lives that like know more about something than we do, and we'll go to them for advice. Like it's like that becomes part of you, where it's like the universe is that kind of guiding mentor, you know, that instead of having to like go to the universe and be like, hey, should I do this? You know, like you're doing the best you can, making decisions to take action on things. And maybe you're like, I don't know, a couple steps into it, and you just get the feeling like, nope, this doesn't feel good. This feels weird. Like something is way off. I can't put my finger on it, but I know this feeling means that this is not the right way for me to go. So let me kind of backtrack and go a different way. So those are the two big key messages that I have for you. So now I'm going to just show you the oracle cards that I pulled, and we'll kind of look at these messages. So detachment, you are releasing old patterns and ideas that no longer serve the highest ideals of love. Yes. Absolutely. Water bird, speak your truth. Okay. Victim, the light attribute prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. Because this came up in the upright, we're focusing on this light attribute. If this had come up in the reverse, we'd be looking at the shadow attribute. But I feel like you came from the shadow attribute, and this is just confirming that you are moving into this light of no longer allowing people to victimize you. It's kind of what we talked about with the revenge energy. And then finally, we have this gelato goddess. And it says brave girl, and we can see she's very kind of quirky, different, unique. I don't know if you like gelato. I love gelato. But yeah, this is I feel like this is just a little, I don't know, a little message saying to kind of just let yourself be you. Just allow yourself to show up the way that you show up, no longer worrying about like what people are going to say or think of you. You know, this really goes along with like speak your truth. I think this detachment, it is related to like releasing the way that you were taught that you're supposed to be, like kind of detaching from those things to move towards, this empress self, this person that is able to receive, that wants to claim their highest desires and their greatest vision, even if that looks totally different to everybody else. So group number 1, this is just, these are the key messages that came up for you. So I hope that you enjoyed this quick little reading and that it was positive and supportive for you. I just want to say thank you so much for letting me read your cards, and thank you for being here. Whether you have watched before or this is your first video that you've seen from me, I just want to say thank you. So I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, group number 2. If you chose this card that says, I seek out happy people who inspire me to be great, this is your reading. So let's look at the 2 key messages that Spirit has for you. Okay, so we've got this 2 of Wands in reverse. I'm gonna flip this upright. In the upright, we can see that this person is, kind of scanning the horizon. They're planning, they're thinking, they got their little smartphone. They might be doing some research. They might be kind of jotting down some ideas. This energy feels very like rooted in needing the plan. And with it being in the reverse, what this feels like is you're moving out of a time when planning was everything, that you had to have a plan and we had to follow the plan. And if the plan doesn't work, we stop everything and make another plan. Like this feels like very kind of, I feel like it feels like very controlling energy. And I don't say that to be like critical or judgmental. I think that a lot of times many of us learn that control is how we stay safe. And depending on the experiences we've had, depending on the traumas that we've experienced, depending on the things that we've worked through that we don't ever want to deal with again, a lot of times control is a protection mechanism. That if we can control things, it means that things stay predictable, and that means that we stay safe, because when it was unpredictable, that was when scary things happened. That was when unsafe things happened, and we cannot go back there. So with this energy of releasing that need to control, what is coming in is a sense of surrender. It feels like you're shifting away from having to always have a plan, always know what's going on, always being postured and ready. You're moving away from that into this energy of just being able to trust that like you've been through enough stuff and you've overcome enough things that are really hard that you can handle whatever comes up. This is the energy of like when we look at her, she's very poised, like she's got it together. We can see, from her posture, kind of this open stature that she has. Like there's a lot of comfort in being in this position of pretty much like authority and leadership. It's like she's not uncomfortable being out in front of a group of people, whether they're other people on the balcony with her or they're people down below her. Like we can't really see, but she's not hiding herself. Like her body language is very open. And I think that you are coming into a time where it's like you are able to see that you have been through enough, that you know how to handle things, and that the plan is not what you need for safety. You have grown into a safe person. Like you are someone that is trustworthy to you, which is hugely powerful. That like when we as people become the safe person, we're no longer looking for other people to create safety for us. And I feel like this concept of like creating our own safety is something that is so empowering for women, and people that are kind of in like any kind of disenfranchised demographic, whether it's like if you're a trans woman, if you're, a person of color, if you're queer, anybody that isn't seen as like the norm that's in power, right? So like if you're not an old white male, then like this kind of applies to you. But the world for like, minorities and people that are typically like disempowered within society, people that are typically oppressed, like the world is not a safe place. And it is very like when you hold the belief that the world is not a safe place, it's very, very hard to learn that you can create your own sense of safety. And so I think the natural evolution of this is that we don't experience things and decide like I'm gonna create my own sense of safety. Like it doesn't work like that. What actually happens is that we learn that when we are able to control things, that's how we keep ourselves safe. We're not trying to make a safe space for everybody because we can't. That's too much. Unless it's like our children or the people that like, we directly care for, maybe that live with us. But we, in trying to create a space that we can control, a lot of times many of us decide to be by ourselves because there's less variables, right? If it's like just me and maybe like my child, or like me and my partner, or like me and my pets, or me and like a best friend, then it's easier to kind of control things, and I feel like control has like a very negative connotation to it because there are people that can be controlling of others and there are people that need a high level of control. And so these are two separate things. Like people that are controlling of others are often the people that wound us and cause us to seek out high levels of control. Like people that need to have a high level of control, it can look like needing to make plans. That like, okay, I need to know where we're going in advance so that I can look at the menu and I can look at the parking and I can look at the traffic and I know when I'll, like where to park and like if there's going to be a cost or like, just being able to know what's going to happen ahead of time so that I'm not caught off guard. So there's not anything unexpected because I'm not in a place that I can handle unexpected things. Because of the trauma that I've experienced, because of the really difficult period that I'm in right now, because of, this wounding that I'm trying to heal. And so I say all that to really kind of illustrate like what the energy is, because like if this sounds really foreign to you, like this obviously is not your message, like if you've never experienced that, but if you have experienced that or you are experiencing that, like this key message for you is that you are coming out of it. You're shifting into this space of like really trusting and realizing that like you have become your own safe person. And also like if you have been judged by people for being a planner or for being like called like anal retentive or like, boring or like rigid or whatever. I hope that you can like, I hope that this reading helps you to feel seen. And I just want you to know, like, there's nothing wrong with you. I feel like it's shitty for people to call us names. Cause I mean, we're all grown-ups, right? Like we're not 10. Please don't, please don't call us, please don't judge and criticize us, right? Nobody wants your unsolicited advice on how we need to be like more spontaneous or whatever. So if people have told you that, like, tell them I said they're dumb. But that, I want to remind you that we all do different things to create a sense of safety for ourselves because that is a key part of our survival. That, if you Google Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the very bottom level is like safety and security. That even cavemen, like even, and I mean, you can even look at like animals, like they seek out safety and security. A lot of times security comes in numbers, or it comes from like being able to physically distance themselves from predators. I know a lot of people feel like we are not animals. Whatever. If you are a living creature, that experiences fear, then like this bottom tier of what your basic needs are is a sense of safety and security. So there's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do anything wrong. There's not, you don't need to change who you are. So if you heavily identify with being a planner and that makes you feel good about yourself, who cares what people think? If you are moving out of being a planner and like kind of moving towards being a little bit more of like a spiritual free spirit, also, who cares what anybody thinks? If you are kind of balancing both of them, who cares what anybody thinks? Like, as human beings, we're never just like one thing, right? Like, I don't just read tarot all the time. Like, this is not like who I am. I don't introduce myself as a tarot reader. Like, I don't like force tarot onto people. Like I like we're all more than one thing, right? Like I'm a middle-aged chick with 2 cats that goes grocery shopping, and I also read tarot, right? Like we're all more than one thing. So okay, I'm gonna let go of that. First key message is that you are moving into a place of surrender and faith in trusting the universe, and that you have, or you are discovering that you have become a safe person for yourself because you know how to make the best decisions for yourself. You have learned how to take care of yourself and you're really good at it. So congratulations. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. I need you to pat yourself on the back. I'll wait. Okay. The next key message that we have is this Page of Cups. So the Page of Cups is a message of love, an offering of love. I feel like this is you learning to see that there is, has, and always will be an abundance of love around you. That if you are willing to open your eyes to see it, like you are going to see so many kind interactions between people in the world that you don't know, with people that you don't know. And these can be very small interactions, right? Like this can be something as small as like stopping at a crosswalk to let someone cross the street with their dog and they just like smile and look you right in the eye and wave, you know, or you can hear them yell thank you. Or this could be being in a Walmart and seeing like someone help someone else that you can tell that they are obviously not together. This can be like a random person just telling you that like they love your outfit. Like they love it, you know? Or you saying something kind to someone else. Like the world is not changing. It's going to feel like the world is changing. It's not. You have changed because you have learned that you are a safe person, that's shifted the way that you look at the world. Instead of the world being all the people that you need to protect yourself against, you're already safe. You already know how to make the best decisions. So now you can relax and open. You can bring your chin up to look at the world instead of having your head down to shoulder through the really difficult stuff that you've had to deal with. And so I feel like this is just really beautiful. I'm not going to say that this is not an offer of love coming in. This very well could be that you notice that people are noticing you, because why wouldn't they? You know, this very confident stature, like you like, you know what you're doing, like you have your life together, but you're not unapproachable to everyone. Like the people that caused you harm, and really are the ones that kind of triggered you to need like excessive control in your life. Like those, you really deflect those kind of people, like that kind of energy, like that you intimidate it now. And so you don't have to worry about that coming back in. But because you have changed and shifted, like people will notice you because you're very noticeable. But also, as you see more love in the world, you're going to become more open to interacting with strangers. Like as you're learning to trust the universe more and like surrender, you're no longer scared of the unknown in people. You trust your gut enough that like if you interact with this person and something feels like weird or off, you are still very polite, but you excuse yourself. You don't continue the interaction. You go about your business. And when you have interactions that are really positive and lovely, like you're also comfortable continuing to engage in them a little bit longer, even if it's with complete strangers, even if it's about nothing, right? Even if you're like, I don't know, at Target looking at shirts and there's a lady next to you looking at shirts and you guys have a little conversation about it. Like you're not uncomfortable taking up space. You're not uncomfortable being seen. You're not uncomfortable being out in the world. Like you no longer feel like you don't belong. That's powerful. Okay. So let's look at your oracle cards. First one we have is spontaneity. Okay, you move beyond the constraints of the mind and freely and lovingly embrace new situations. I feel like that is very much what I was feeling with the two of wands. That like you're moving from being a planner to being a little bit more spontaneous and also like lovingly embracing new situations. Beautiful. Next, we have the wood dog, trust your intuition, with the number 11, and also like all these little sun rays, right? That like you're divinely guided, you're divinely held, you are safe. The universe definitely has your back. Trickster, light attribute, transcending conventions, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. Okay, so you're coming into a time of a little bit more kind of fun. A little bit of mischief in the best way. I would venture to say that you might be coming into your little rapscallion era where you're just into your shenanigans. You're just, I'm there too. I call it my nonsense era where, it sounds like a lot crazier than it is, but so I feel like I put hashtags on things that's like nonsense 2024, and really like what that means is that like if there's something that comes up and my initial reaction to it, because I'm a highly resistant planner person, is well, I can't do that, then this nonsense 2024 energy for me kind of shifts me into asking like, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I buy I don't know. I don't even remember what these are called. Like crystal, like pink aura crystals. Like they have some kind of titanium coating on them, that like, I don't know what the metaphysical properties of this are. They're just pink and I like them. Why can't I have this on my video, right? Like, does everything have to be serious? Why can't I buy these? I have grown up money, and like, I think a lot of times we can worry about like what people will think of us, and that's why we don't do things that like I have my hands tattooed, right? Like I feel like depending on the generation that people are from, I'm sure my grandparents are like, back in their day this was like I was in a gang, and it's like, okay, well, what is I have a lantern and a flower with a snake. I have a cupcake. Like, why not? So I feel like that is kind of this energy that you're coming into, right? That you're not worried about like doing everything the right way and like having a plan. And you're like, let me just do some silly magic nonsense, and it's like, is it hurting anybody? No. Does it make sense to everybody? Why does it need to? Am I enjoying myself? Yes. So I feel like that's the energy that you're coming into. And then finally, we have this number 24 peacock princess with the message, I am enough. And she's got mother, daughter, sister, lover on her. And so I feel like this definitely aligns with kind of what we talked about before, that we are all more than one thing, right? And we all have multiple labels that we carry, but at the end of the day, you are enough just as you are. Even if you weren't, multiple different things, even if you're not good at something, it doesn't matter. Like, you are enough. The fact that you exist, that you have existed this long, that you continue to exist and wake up every day, means that you are enough. So group number 2, this has been your reading on key messages that you needed to hear right now. So I hope that you enjoyed the reading. I just want to say thank you for letting me read for you. If you enjoyed the reading, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. If you have watched a video with me before, thank you for coming back. If this is your first time, thank you for clicking on this video and hanging out with me. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, group number 3. So if you chose this I am a light worker in disguise card, this is your reading. So let's look at your 2 key messages that Spirit has for you. Sorry, I knocked into the microphone. Okay, so we've got the Empress and Judgment. So let's look at the Empress first. These cards crack me up because they look like little Instagram posts, and I just love them. It says, hello, dear ones. It's the Empress here. Come rest in my loving embrace and let me surround you with warmth and comfort. I believe that sometimes we all need a safe space to just be. So this first key message, I feel like, is asking you to really shift into, I don't want to say prioritizing or focusing, because that makes it sound like that needs to be the only priority you have, which is not realistic, but putting more energy, that feels better. Putting more energy into your self-care. It feels like you run yourself really hard, that either you're really hard on yourself, you demand a lot of yourself, like you have some discomfort around resting. I think a lot of people are conditioned and programmed and taught that like doing nothing means that you're lazy. It's kind of the same concept of like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, that doesn't make any sense. When you're dead, you don't need sleep. Like, what? You're alive now, you need sleep. That's how your body heals. That's how your body regulates the hormones. And like we all have hormones that we need for like brain function and body function. So I feel like what's coming up is very much like this need to give yourself the chance to rest and to look at what kind of self-care you need. One of the things that's coming up is your body. It feels like it almost feels like your body's asking me to ask you to like, can we just take a break? Can we get a little break? Can we take a break? It's almost the feeling of like, if you've ever like gone for a run and you get like a stitch in your side and you're like, no, I can run through it. And sometimes you can, sometimes you just push through. Not that I've run in a very long time, but sometimes you push through and like you can kind of work through it. And other times it's like, I'm not going away, and you have to stop. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like you've been pushing through this kind of stitch in your side and your body's like, I feel really bad. Like, just the way it's asking, it's like, can we please? Like, almost like if your body was a person, like it has tears in its eyes. And it's like, I just need a little break. Like, I'm not giving up. I just need a little rest. So, this first key message for you is that your body needs more of your care and attention. Because your body wants to do all the things that you want it to do. Like, it wants to meet all the goals that you have, but your body can't keep up with your mind, and they're 2 completely different energies, right? That the mind can imagine something without it even being tangible or existing, but the body is rooted in the tangible, right? So it's like in our minds, like we can imagine what we would look like if we had lost 20 pounds, but like our body needs time to integrate any changes, to diet, to like lose that weight from, a calorie deficit or more exercise, or it needs time to like heal those muscles that were used during the exercise. Like, your brain can't go as fast as your body. And I feel like your body can't go as fast as your brain. I feel like your body has really been trying so hard to keep up, and like it just can't. And it wants to support you, but what it needs from you now is support. So, and this is not a one-time thing, right? This is really kind of shifting the way that you operate in your daily life. And so, I don't feel like it's like a medical issue. it just kind of feels like this sort of like natural evolution, like the way that our bodies change as we age. That, the way that you have been doing it for this long, your body can't do that anymore. I feel like for some of you, if you feel called, if it feels right, if you know of something that isn't, like if you kind of intuitively know there's a medical issue, like please, get professional help for that, like see a doctor or whatever, like I don't know, chiropractor or even massage therapist, like whatever, dentist, like whatever specialist would assist with that. But I think if you don't feel like there's anything medically wrong, then definitely incorporating a lot more rest. Looking at like your sleep hygiene, maybe even naps, if you have those times that like you feel like your body is just like it could go to sleep for a good 20 minutes, but instead you have another cup of coffee or you have a Red Bull or whatever your energy drink of choice is, and you push through it instead of allowing your body to rest. Like your body's asking for you to listen to that. So that's your first key message. The second key message is this Judgment card. And so this little message is, as I stood before the Sorry, I can't talk. As I stood before the Almighty, excitement and joy overwhelmed me as God opened his arms to welcome me. And with the sound of the trumpet, the feast in heaven begins. Okay, so this card is very much tied to revelations in the Bible, like the second coming. In the traditional tarot, it's got people like standing up out of coffins, like rising from the dead. This card is very much about like second chances, like awakenings, reawakenings. I feel like there is like, this is a card of evolution, and like how do I say this? Your soul, your spirit, like there's something they want to like evolve into, but the conditions are not right. And this again taps into that physical body. That like when I think of it's giving me big like rest energy, because like in the traditional tarot, there's people that are standing up in coffins. Another tarot card that has a coffin in it is the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is very much about rest, like deep rest, like the thing you're doing is focusing on rest and healing. When the Four of Swords comes up, it's also a card of like sometimes like sleep problems, and it's a card of like transformation, because like death, when people die, we put them in coffins, and that is a transformation. The death card is transformation. So this card being second chances, like transforming into something new, being reawakened to something new. And so I feel like if you have felt like you've been on the precipice of like this awakening, like this level up, but you can't get there, it is because you need to care for your body. That, like your body is a vessel that is going to help you get to where you need to be. But like your body's not a car, but just like cars need maintenance, our bodies need maintenance. We need to make sure that we're putting the correct like fuel into them, that like it's getting the proper care and maintenance, that you're taking it to the car wash, maybe do a little mods on it or something, like get your hair done, or like give yourself a little treat. But I feel like this is where you want to, you're ready to evolve and grow. And I don't think that you realize that like the lack of self-care that you have, not the like you not investing enough self-care into your body is the thing that's been holding you back. And so I don't say that with any judgment. Like I don't mean to say like you should have known better. Like how would you know? Because we live in a society that values capitalism over everything, and capitalism says do all the things. That's not enough, do more. And that's what you've been doing. So you've been doing what you were told and conditioned to do, and now your body says I'm tired and I need some rest, and some more rest and some more rest. So Really what this feels like is incorporating rest into your schedule. So if you're someone that lives by a schedule or a planner, you need to start scheduling rest in there. And this can be as small as like scheduling a 15-minute meeting in between your meetings so that like you have that space on your schedule. And for that 15 minutes, like maybe you take a walk outside. Maybe you hide in the bathroom. Maybe you are on your phone playing Candy Crush, like, or looking at TikTok or whatever you're doing. But for those 15 minutes, even something that small, like you are doing nothing, whatever your preferred nothing is. So those are your 2 key messages. So let's look at your oracle cards. Harmony. We are able to feel a loving, balanced connection with everything, including inside you. You know, this, oh, look at this guy. He's dancing. Sorry, I am so easily distracted. Or maybe he agrees. He's like, yes, harmony between your body, mind, and spirit. You know, so your body's like, I wanna do all the things that everybody wants, but I need a break. And then we have the wood rat aligned with your purpose. Number 1, look at this little stinker. What a little cutie patootie. I'm gonna put this under the judgment card because you're ready to align with your purpose. Your body just needs a little bit of rest. A lot of rest. Okay, so we've got the orphan child in reverse. And so I'm going to read the shadow attributes because it came up reversed. And so the message is feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation, seeking inappropriate surrogate families. Okay. So there might have been some kind of like wound in the past, or yeah, there might still be like feelings of abandonment and, you know, seeking care from others, that you didn't receive as a child. And so the thing that's coming up is like reparenting. And so if you've never heard of reparenting, I think it's something that would be really beneficial if you feel inclined to Google it. Another way that you can start to reparent yourself specific to your body is to treat your body like as if it were your child. You know, so how do we treat kiddos? Well, we figure out what kind of schedule they need. We ask them what they like to eat. We figure out what they do like and what they don't like. Kind of figuring out their personality, right? That like some kids fight sleep. They don't like to go to sleep at all, but they love reading. Okay, so if you love reading and we go and read in the bed before bedtime, then it's a compromise, right? Like we get to do your favorite thing which is reading, but then also, you know, when it's time to go to sleep, guys gotta go to sleep. So really like the reparenting is you, the adult version of you, giving your inner child what it is that you needed and didn't get when you were that child. So sometimes that can be something as simple as like a milkshake. Like I'm lactose intolerant, but there are times that like I think I've done like, I don't want to say I've done enough work because like that sounds kind of pretentious because I don't think there's enough work, but like I can recognize when little Kathy needs something, and sometimes little Kathy needs a milkshake, but adult Kathy is lactose intolerant. So we just figure it out because little Kathy needs a milkshake. And sometimes like that's the only thing that like can really help, like not necessarily comfort her, but I think as a child, like I wasn't really like seen or heard. And so like that's a lot of what I'm healing for myself, you know? So it's like, okay, like I see you and I hear you, and let's get in the car and get a milkshake, or let's go to the grocery store and get a milkshake. And like sometimes adult Kathy puts protein powder in it because compromise. But you know, that reparenting is, you know, learning how to tap into little you, and listening to what this little version of you needs and providing that. Yeah, there's a lot of healing that is going to come for you with that reparenting. And so lastly, we have Earth Goddess number 44. And this little message says who you are is love. Yeah, which is really beautiful. That, you know, and I think with this orphan child card, for those of us that have abandonment wounds, it can give us this message that like we are not lovable, like we are not enough, but who you are is love, you know? And so like as you're healing, as you're growing, as you are learning to care for your body and tune into like what this, you know, inner child version of you needs, as well as what your body needs, like what you're going to see about yourself is that you are love, because what you're doing is pouring all this love into yourself. You know, like harmony comes from love. Like when we care enough about people, when we are in an energy of loving, like we are willing to do the things to make it harmonious for everyone. You know, when we're in an energy of ego, only our needs matter. But when we're in an energy of creating a sense of harmony for everyone, that's when we're in the energy of love. So group number 3, this has been your reading of 2 key messages that you needed to hear right now. So I hope that you enjoyed the reading. If you have watched my videos before, thank you so much for watching again. If this is your first time watching a video with me, I just want to say thank you for spending some time with me. If you enjoyed the reading, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. But most of all, thank you for letting me read your cards. Thank you for being here, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, group number 4. So if you chose this compassion card, this is your reading. So let's look at the 2 key messages that Spirit has for you. Okay, we've got King of Wands and High Priestess. Lovely. Okay, so this first message, King of Wands, is about honor, standards, and wisdom. I like this little bird on his shoulder. I feel like this is very much like this voice of like wisdom, kind of like spirit guidance, like divine guidance. The King of Wands is someone that is a very like comfortable decision maker. They are comfortable in leadership, like they're comfortable being in charge, like they don't shy away from authority, but we can see like this king has very kind eyes, right? Like he's just kind of sitting squarely on his throne. He's got his wand, and you know, he's got this little bird friend, and I feel like this is just kind of an illustration of like the kindness that he has, that he's got a very balanced energy between like needing to do things and be in charge and being open to listen and being open to hear other sides of things. And so this feels like you're coming into this time of being like a really wise leader. Like this almost feels like elder energy. Like when we look at cultures that like value their elders, like a lot of indigenous cultures, like they call people elders. They don't call them elderly like we do in like American culture. And being called an elder is, I feel like, really a title of reverence versus being called elderly, which is kind of this adjective an adjective to describe the fact that you have aged. And so you might not be someone that is older at all, right? You might not identify with like being elderly, but you know, being considered like an elder, mentor, sage, wise one, a guide. I feel like that is the energy that you're coming into, because that's how people see you. I really like the motivation at the top. Like, I think that you're someone that has like this intrinsic motivation, like that you do things because you know they are the right things to do. You do things because you know they need to be done. You don't need to wait for people to ask you to do things. If you see something that needs to be done, you know, then you take care of it within reason. You know, you're not the person that's like, oh, such and such is supposed to do that, but they haven't all do it. This is much more an energy of like stepping up, stepping in when no one is willing to step up or step in. So I don't want to call it hero energy, because I feel like, you know, a lot of hero energy is kind of from a place of ego that like, I want to be seen as the Superman, instead of like the kind of silent silent savior. Like, I don't know why that's coming up, but you know, you're not stepping up for the notoriety or fame of it. You are stepping up because you know that that's the right thing to do. You know that that's what's needed, and you know that like you're the person that has to do it because nobody else can or is brave enough or will. So yeah, this is very like this is just very impressive. So this could be within your family, this could be at a job, this could be just how you show up in the world. But yeah, big leadership energy. And then we've got this high priestess here, and there's some overlapping messages here with this because we've got wisdom again. We've got this inner voice, just like the little bird, secrets, dreams, spirit world. The high priestess is tapped into the divine, and she's also tapped into the wisdom of the world. So okay, I understand what this is. This is your spiritual side. This is your worldly side. And so these are two sides of the same coin. And so for some of you, you have been a deeply spiritual person, and now you're learning how to become a leader in this 3D world based on these spiritual lessons and like values that you've discovered. And some of you are, you know, really kind of like these gentle giant leaders in the tangible world, and you're starting to learn more spiritual sides of yourself. So I feel like some of you will identify as this and some of you will identify as this. But I feel like either way that you identify now, you've wanted to be the other one. Like there's this part of you like that's always been attracted to the other one, that like if you're someone that's like deeply spiritual, you've always wanted to be seen as like a wise person in the world, maybe in the field of work that you work in, or even just like to have non-spiritual people appreciate your wisdom and experience as a spiritual person. That like not being like, what is the word? Why can't I think of it? Transcending. So like transcending this kind of spiritual description of you just into being someone that is wise, you know, or kind of transcending being someone that's like a really great leader, team lead, I don't know, like experienced business person, like transcending that and just being someone that's seen as like wise, caring, ethical, conscious, value driven. So the core message, or the key message, sorry, that's coming through for you, group number 4, is that you're coming into like this time of like integrating different parts of yourself to become much more balanced. Like you're either bringing a lot more of your spirituality into the 3D, or you're bringing a lot more tangible real world stuff into your spiritual practice and your spiritual impact. Like either way, like if you're watching this video, like you have a desire to positively impact people in the world, whether they align with you as this or as this. Like you just really want to help people. You want to, yeah, you just want to help people. That's like the big thing that I'm getting, which is so beautiful. Okay, so let's look at your oracle cards. The first one we have is commitment. You dedicate yourself to your beliefs wholeheartedly, knowing that love is the essence of your very being. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, if you are someone that is, you know, that is very much experienced in the 3D world, you're someone that, or in the tangible world. I mean, we're all in the 3D world, but in this like kind of tangible world, human experience, like you've always been someone that was seen as like ethical, and like you always did the right thing by people. It might not have been the right thing according to the rules, but like you always treated people the way that you wanted to be treated. And then also in, you know, like your spiritual practice, if you're moving towards this kind of real world credibility or growth, you're like in your spiritual practice, in your spiritual values, like you have never like had this kind of spiritual ego thing about you. Like you have never been like, oh, well, if you just meditated, you would get it. Like that's not how you are. That you know, you're someone that understands that like this spiritual practice works for me. It works for a lot of people, but I'm not saying that it is the end all be all for you, you know, but if you would like to try it, I'm happy to share the practice with you. Or like, if you would like to explore this, I'm happy to share the information with you, that like you understand that we're all on our own spiritual journey, and that there's such an abundance of like tools and information, because not everybody practices the same way, which is really beautiful. So, you know, like this commitment to, it's almost like you, whoever you are, whichever side you're on, you have this really deep core value of respecting people's differences while maintaining authenticity to yourself and what's right for you. And I think that like that draws people in. That's gonna draw a lot more people in once you finish this integration, because the essence of that is really love. You know, that like love and helping other people grow, expand, like evolve. Because it's like, you don't have to be like me for me to help you. I respect that everyone is different, but I also value my own practices because I've discovered that's what works for me. And I'm happy to help you discover what works best for you, so that you can operate in love through the practices that work the best for you. Yeah. So next we have metal sheep, foresight and careful planning. Yeah, I feel like it's not necessarily that you need to do like careful planning. I mean, maybe you do. If you're trying to make like a life shift from the way that you maybe like operate in the world, or make money, or like just show up, or the career that you want to have, the way that you want to work and serve the world. If you're switching from one to the other, you know, like if you are here and you're leaning towards learning more of this and vice versa, then that definitely will take some foresight and planning. But also it feels like with this, you know, the 8 on here, it's this infinity symbol. And we've got these lotuses here that, you know, like the lotuses, like they bloom out of the mud. So like the lotus flower is closed until it comes up out of the mud, and then it opens up. And that's why it looks so clean, but it takes a while. You know, it takes a while for the lotus to come through the mud. And so it almost feels like the divine has been overseeing the careful, like, planning and foresight on your behalf. And so it's like, now that you're blooming, it's like, I feel like you're going to get to a point where you're going to see that everything has led to where you are right now, even though when you were part of the things happening in the past, like you were very intentional about it, but you just had no idea it was going to get you to where you are now, which is really beautiful. So it's like, if you find yourself in that energy of recognizing like, wow, I can't believe something I did 10 years ago has led me to this, but I see it so clearly, that is really like the divine's way of being like, hey, that's how long I've been with you. Like, that's how long I've been here. Like, we've been rolling deep for this long, you know? And so like, if you weren't sure if spirit has been with you this whole time, because you didn't identify yourself as like a spiritual person, that is just like, that feeling is just a confirmation. That's spirit's way of letting you know, like, I was there. I remember that. That was a good time. Okay, so next we have hero, heroine. Okay, interesting, because I did say this. The light attribute is passion for a journey of personal empowerment. Okay, so I feel like this is very much where, this is very much where you are. So instead of that hero, heroine, because this is that ego-based shadow attribute, that, you know, like wanting to be the hero to get the attention. Like this came upright. So we're looking at the light attribute, and you have this passion for like this journey and like personal empowerment. And I love that there's like one male and one female on here, because this is the same imagery that we have here. So I'm going to put this in the middle, because it's almost like it's opposite sides too, right? Because you're kind of, you're integrating, you're bringing both sides together. And lastly, we have this White Sage card, number 23. 2 + 3 is 5, which is a card of change. A sage is someone that is very wise. White Sage is typically used for energetic cleansing. So if you have any situations that happen, or you have any kind of like negative thoughts, if you feel any blocks around your ability to transcend from one side to the other, to integrate, I feel like using some sage, whether that's like in your food, whether that's like, you know, burning the sage and cleansing yourself, whatever feels right for you. If you like the color sage or even white, like wearing that to kind of empower yourself. But I feel like any kind of blocks that you are feeling around doubting your ability to transcend and integrate these two sides of you, I feel like that you're being invited to cleanse that in whatever means you typically cleanse. Whether that's like writing down the fears and burning them, if that's using like a selenite wand to cut some of that stuff away, sage, whatever your method of energetic cleansing is. If you don't have one, you can Google it, or you can just talk out loud to yourself or journal, whatever feels right for you. But I feel like if there's any blocks around that, the encouragement is that you're being invited to kind of cleanse that energy that feels like it's blocking you, cleansing those limiting beliefs, letting them go. So group number 4, this has been your key messages from Spirit. So I hope that you enjoyed the reading. If you did, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. If this is your first time watching a reading from me, thank you so much for choosing this reading and hanging out with me. If you have watched my readings before and you came back, thank you for letting me read for you once again. So I hope you guys have a great day, night, evening, morning, whenever you're watching this, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, group number 5. So, sorry, I think I hit the microphone. If you chose this today, I consciously choose to think loving thoughts card. This is your reading. So let's look at the 2 key messages that Spirit has for you. Okay. So we have the 4 of Coins in reverse, and then we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So 4 of Coins is a card of, in the upright, is a card of scarcity. So we see, you know, this woman kind of almost very Rapunzel-esque. She's looking down out the window of her tower. There's some longing there. Maybe there's some curiosity if somebody's going to come rescue her. It feels like there's very much like a kind of look of longing, you know, in her eyes, a little bit of sadness. We've got these 3 coins here, which are in reach, but she's not reaching for them. It's not what she wants. 4 of Coins can be a card of dissatisfaction. No, I'm thinking of 4 of Cups, which this is not. With this other coin hanging out here, this card very much does have 4 of Cups energy, though, because in the 4 of Cups, the universe is bringing in a cup, and then there's 3 that are right in front of the person, and they don't want it. 4 of Coins is a card of scarcity, but like we're not getting that from this card. So it almost feels like you, for a long time, you were in this space of like, oh my gosh, have you seen that? I feel like I hope you've seen it. There's a meme of this little girl, and like people have been using it for different things, but I think they were like Halloween shopping in the original like video, and the little girl's like looking at something and she's like, oh, it's nice, I wish I could get it. Like I feel like that's this energy where she's like, oh, freedom looks nice, I wish I could get that. Oh well, like too bad. Sorry, I'm cracking up because I can see it in my head, and I can see all the ways that people use it out of context. Okay, sorry. Focus, self, focus. So I feel like you were in this energy for a long time of like, oh gosh, I really wish I could have that thing, but I guess I can't because I can't go get it for myself. And so this was very much like you were in a very disempowered energy in from the perspective that it's almost like you believed for a long time that you just couldn't have the things that you wanted because they didn't come to you, which sounds judgy. It is not judgy because I feel like a lot of us are conditioned that like if it's meant to be yours, it'll find you. And like, what? Because once you become a grown up, like if you're a Disney princess, yes, you know, like you just take a nap and then some stranger kisses you and then you wake up and you're like, this is the love of my life, which is, guys, that's weird. But in the real world, the IRS doesn't come to your house and say, hey, we were in the neighborhood and we want to know if you want us to do your taxes. Like, do you want to put on a movie and we'll just get on your laptop and do your taxes for you? Delightful. Okay, see you next year. Like, that's like the things that we want don't just like come to us. Nobody brings groceries to our door, right? I mean, unless you order them, but still you to do something. You know, I feel like the only thing in the world that works like that is the cat distribution system. And I love cats, but you know, it doesn't work like that for everything. Like nobody's going to bring a job directly to you and like pick you up every day and take you to that job. Like nobody's going to do the job interview for you. So you're coming out of this energy of like, gosh, I wish I could have that, but I guess I can't because it hasn't come to me. And you're moving into this energy of, I really want that. How do I go get that? Where's that at? How do I go? Oh, they have those at Target. Let me go. I'm going to drive over to the Target and get some of those. Those are cute. I like them. You know, or realizing maybe that like let's say you want to be a graphic designer and you're like, I love drawing, but I don't really know how graphic design works. And you're like, well, I don't know if I want to invest the money in going to school to become a graphic designer, or maybe I don't have the money, and that's not an option. But like, how do I learn this? Okay, let me Google free graphic design lessons. And it's like, oh, there's stuff on YouTube. Oh, there's stuff here. There's stuff there. Oh, okay. Like I can learn all this because I've gone out to get the knowledge and let me start practicing. Oh, look, there's all these people that have graphic design jobs that like didn't go to school for it, but there's like things that I can learn, or I can like start an account on Fiverr and start offering things and like build up my experience and, you know, not charge a whole lot, but be able to enjoy what I'm doing. So I feel like you are coming into that kind of empowered energy where it's like, now you're like, there's some kind of an epiphany where like you realized through someone else's experience, and it could be like, I'm feeling like it's a YouTube video or a podcast. It's somebody you don't know, but like you saw their story, and the biggest part of their story is that they wanted this thing and like they just kept trying for it. And people were like, you can't do that. Like, it's not meant for you. And they're like, I'm going to keep trying and trying and trying and trying. And now they're like phenomenal at it. And the thing that's coming to my mind, which is to me, it's obscure. Maybe it's not obscure to you, is like the story of Sylvester Stallone. I think he has like a biopic documentary thing about like his whole career, you know, and that like if you don't know his story, it's a really like beautiful, interesting story. Like he had a lot of family problems, and like his father is very abusive to him, and you know, it's just like, you know, you're dumb and you won't be able to do this. And like him trying to like become an actor, people were like, nobody wants that kind of like, we can't cast you as anything because like you kind of talk weird and you don't seem intelligent. And so he ended up writing Rocky. He wrote the movie for himself so that he could act, because that's what he wanted to do. And then it becomes this like huge franchise, and he explodes into it. And he's still, I don't even know how old he is. He's got to be like in his 70s. He's still acting and making movies, and like he has just really created this kind of genre, right, of like action movies that like they're not the kind of movies that are gonna like change your whole life, but they're very enjoyable, right? Like sometimes you just want to see like the hero save the day, or you just want to see a bunch of GI Joe looking guys killing the bad guy because we just need a break from the world. So I feel like it's going to be something like that, where you're seeing somebody else's story and it's like, oh, like I just thought Sylvester Stallone tripped and fell into acting. Like I thought he just like lucked out. So like everybody doesn't luck out, because I think the people around you have been really lucky in like getting what they want, and that's how you see it. But I think, okay, sometimes stuff comes through and it's like hard for me to say because I don't know these people. Like I don't want to insult people, but I feel like a lot of the people you've been looking at that seem like they just get what they want, they're really manipulative. And like they don't work for what they want. They've just found people that they can manipulate to get what they want from them, which sounds really icky to say about someone, but it's also really icky to like see people that do that, because it just is, you know. And sometimes people don't know any better, so we will give them the benefit of doubting that we know that they do it on purpose. But so yeah, so you are letting go of the belief that like you can't have what you want because it hasn't just fallen into your lap, and you're learning that like you can have everything that you want as long as you're willing to like put in the effort for it, you know. And sometimes that means like writing your own movie script to create a whole franchise that you star in. Other times it can be as simple as like Googling how to be a graphic designer and starting to watch YouTube videos and like getting some free software and like doing some cool graphic design stuff. So that's your first key message. The next one is this Ace of Swords in reverse. I feel like they are connected. The Ace of Swords is a card of new beginnings, and it's around thought process and communication. And I feel like I said, I feel like they're connected because Ace of Swords upright is like, hey, something new's coming in. We're making a big change. Like you're getting an opportunity. Swords, that's what aces represent. But swords are about communication, thought process, anything kind of mental, having to do with the mind. With this in reverse, I feel like you have been wanting a fresh start. You've been wanting to do things differently, but you just don't know how. Like you just don't, or you don't think that you can. And so I feel like these are tied together because I feel like whatever that story is, that outside story that you see that inspires you to like take action, what's going to happen is that like when you take the action, you're going to be empowering yourself, which means you're going to be flipping this upright, you know, well, not upright, like you're going to be empowering yourself so that you stop like wishing for things and you make them happen. And then also that's going to flip this one upright. It's going to change your mindset around like what you're capable of. It's going to change your belief systems about yourself. Because like I said, I feel like a lot of the disempowerment is in this belief that like you can't have what you want because it hasn't come to you. And what you're going to start to learn about yourself is that you can have everything that you want because you put the effort in to go get it. You figure out how to make it happen. You figure out how to get lined up with the right people, the right skills, whatever. Like you, I feel like these two big messages are really around like fortitude and perseverance, that you're coming into this new season of like learning what your power is, like learning what you're capable of, and that like you're just a very strong-willed person that when you really want something, the fact that it's a little bit difficult does not deter you. And I feel like that's maybe why the Sylvester Stallone thing came up, because like if you like look into his story, like it wasn't like he did one acting audition and they said, we don't need you. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to write a movie right now and make it. Like this was like years and years and years. Like it took him a very long time before he got to the point where he like wrote Rocky, and then trying to get people to produce it and like getting the funding, and so that takes a lot of fortitude and perseverance. It's not, it's not like, I don't know, it's not like buying a suit and tie to go to an interview, right? And like just accomplishing the interview is the goal. Like, no, like you want to be really successful at something, you want to meet a goal. And so yeah, I feel like you're coming into this kind of phase in your life where you are really learning how powerful and capable you are because of the perseverance that it's going to take for you to get the thing that you want. And it's almost like you're not going to realize that you're powerful until you're kind of like knee deep in this kind of perseverance, fortitude energy, where it's like it might be somebody that's like, man, you've been working at this for a long time. And like, you don't even think about it. You're like, oh, I guess I have. And then they might say something like, well, a lot of people would have given up by now. And you're like, really? But like, how are you supposed to get the thing you want if you just give up? It's like, this is so inherent to who you are that it's kind of adorable that it doesn't make sense to you that people would give up. And the adorable part is that you don't realize how hard you work. You don't realize how hard like this thing is that you want, because you're just doing the thing every day. You're just taking another step, and you're like, well, I'll just keep taking my steps, and then eventually I'll get there. And like a lot of people are like, I just want to take 2 steps and be at the end. And like, that's not even how your brain works, which I think that's why I think it's adorable. So let's look at your oracle cards. We have priorities. You understand the paramount importance of manifesting love in all situations. Lovely. Ooh, water monkey, conquer your fear. Look at this little stinker. Oh my goodness. Look at this guy. He's in these little springs, whatever they're called. I don't know, these Himalayan mountain hot springs. That's probably not even right. I feel like this is that persevering fortitude, that we kind of talked about. And that this is, you got a little spirit guide that's hanging out with you, like a little, almost like a little cheerleader. This could be like a friend, like a best friend, or like even a family member that's always like rooting for you. But I feel like, looking at this warrior, like this, it takes a long time to become a master of, like martial arts or, sword fighting or whatever. Like this person, and we can see, I feel like from the hair, like the length of the hair is almost like indicative of the amount of time that this person has spent practicing and learning and building up their skill. And like, they're in the water, but they're not wet, right? So it's like this person has a lot of skill in what they're doing to keep their movements from splashing all over the place. It's very intentional, like, and I just feel like this is you, and that this little water monkey is just kind of like that divine guidance, that support system you have. And like this kind of fortitude, perseverance, like you continuing to take these steps every day, moving towards what you want, is you conquering that fear that told you couldn't have what you wanted because it just didn't come to you easy. And I don't think that you identify that as fear, but like at the core of what that energy is, it is. Even if you don't feel fearful, like for me, fear presents as doubt. Like when I doubt myself, like I've learned that's me being fearful, because I don't really feel a lot of fear. Like I'm very good at keeping myself out of dangerous situations. So I don't really have like those kind of feelings that people identify as fear, like maybe like heart racing or like racing thoughts or things like that. But it's like when I doubt myself, that's what the fear looks like for me. Next, we have the poet. Okay. And it came up reversed. So we're going to look at the shadow attribute, and it says turns a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. Okay. I feel like this is what you were doing before, with this 4 of Pentacles, that I feel like this is very much like that mindset of like, well, I can't have it because it hasn't come to me. And it's like, that's kind of a twist on this idea of like divine timing, divine, like just divinity. I think that like some of us believe like if something is spiritually led or divinely led, that it's just going to like magically float down to us like a feather. And it's like, no, like that's like, there is a magical element to like being tapped into divinity and divine timing and like being aligned with like the universe, but we still have to take action. And so it feels like you're releasing, you know, this kind of negative spin that your belief system had kind of created around like what your beliefs are, you know, that like, well, if God wanted me to have it, they would bring it to me, or if the universe wanted me to be blessed, then I would be. And it's like, no, like you're not, it's not being withheld from you because you don't deserve it or because like you're not good enough or you did something wrong. But like the universe, like the divinity is not in the physical, right? It's in the ethereal. And like we have to bridge that gap that, you know, the spiritual, the divine, the ethereal can come to us, you know, in dreams and visions, downloads. But for us to meet that vision in the tangible world, like we have to take steps, right? We have to take action. Just like if we have, I don't know, if we have like a really negative gut feeling about driving on a certain street, and like we decide to turn off that street, and then we find out the next day that there was a really bad accident there. It's like, oh, like the divine was giving you that feeling of like, this, I don't want you to be here. This doesn't feel good in this space. Let's leave the space. You're still the one that turned the wheel of the car to get off that road, right? Like the divine's not going to, there's no Jesus take the wheel. So I feel like your disempowered self was really, you know, kind of twisting those kind of divine beliefs in that kind of shadow negative way, and you're releasing that. And then finally we have divine badass. So that's you. I love that this is very kind of Frida Kahlo-esque looking. I don't know if that kind of resonates for you. The red is really beautiful. We've got some red and like a dark brown. So it feels like kind of root chakra, you know. You might feel good from spending some time in nature because we've got these flowers here, mountains, birds, the red. Yeah, I don't know why that came through. So maybe some of you need to hang out outside for a little bit, do a little grounding, walk around with not walk around with no shoes on, but you know, if you've got some grass or concrete that's safe for you to take your shoes off and stand on to ground into, that might be really helpful. If you live in the mountains and you have a little monkey friend, tell them I said hi because I'm jealous. I love monkeys. They're so mischievous and playful and adorable. They're super fun. Okay, sorry. Enough about me loving monkeys. So group number 5, this has been your key messages from Spirit that you needed to hear right now. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading. If this is your first time watching a reading with me, thank you so much for being here, for letting me read your cards, for hanging out. If you have watched my readings before, thank you for coming back to hang out with me again. So yeah, I just want to say thanks for being here, and I hope that you guys have a lovely day and that these messages are helpful for you. So I will see you guys later. Bye.